Black Scully on check. Got a little Michael Jordan shirt on check. Welcome to another marvelous episode. Yo, we got so much to talk about today. I promise you we got so much to talk about. Shout out to everybody who has been supporting the show, constantly in here, constantly in the chat, just constantly making it lit. I truly appreciate it. And the crazy thing is we haven't scratched the surface on, what I want to do with this show. But I truly appreciate you guys. You are amazing, and we actually are about to close a deal with a new sponsor, which is going to be incredible. It'll be the first sponsor for the governor of college football, and it's amazing when you put the work in. You know what I'm saying? And you build the following, and you build your own lingo, and you are authentic, and then you present it in a way that is really professional to people that can find it. So we're really close on closing a deal with a new sponsor, and they'll be the official sponsor of Governor College Football. So I just wanted to shout you guys out. It was an amazing weekend. I had a blast this weekend. Flew down to ATL. We'll talk more about it in our Governor's Travel segment, but I had a great weekend. Went to 3 games one day, and I don't know. I just love CFB Nation so much, man. My dog Moon, who's one of my business partners, man. The dude is just a visionary, man. And I lose it sometimes mentally. Like I'll just be drifting and thinking. But before we ever even knew what a credential was called, we had this idea a long time ago, 5 years ago, where we had formulated another company that didn't work out. Then we formulated CFB Nation, and things are working out. But it's just incredible what a dream and action behind the dream, the places that it can take you. And I just had an amazing weekend. So we'll be talking about that in our Governor's Travel segment. On our Into the News segment, we're going to recap some games that really crossed my mind this past weekend. And I don't know. We're going to talk about them in great detail. AP Poll Top 25 came out as well. And then one of those segments that I think they're starting to grow, the verbiage is starting to grow. It's called Hold This L. So we're going to do post week 4, Hold This L as well. And I'm telling you, we're going to have a grand time today. Cover the college football hashtag. Go CFB. CFB Nation, only college football destination. Let's get it. Governor of college football. We're going to recap ACC.
Hey, that's
Two great
CJ
defensive
on
minds.
the
They have to be better on that side of The thing about college football that I think a lot of us don't realize is that it is truly the gift that keeps on giving. Each and every weekend, I continue to say that we just witnessed the best week of college football. Not of all time, but the best week of college football that we're going to get for the season, right? That's how I feel about each and every time. This weekend was a little different for me. I had to catch up, and even when I was talking to Moon yesterday, he's like, yo, how'd you catch up so fast? Like, I'm going to talk more about it, so I can't say as much as I want to say because of Governor's Travel. I'm really going to outline my day. I told you guys in the opening, Saturday we went to 3 games. I'm going to outline it from me waking up all the way to me getting back home. 2 flights in one day. It was just a phenomenal day. We're going to talk about that more. But, college football is truly the gift that keeps on giving. Like yesterday, I know it was like a grand day for the NFL, and I apologize to you NFL fans. I don't watch a lot of NFL. I don't. Anybody who knows me will tell you that I do watch the Buffalo Bills. I couldn't tell you the last time I missed a Buffalo Bill game. Even when I was working at the place I told you guys I was working with before, even if I was at work, I had the game on, and I'll probably be listening to it through the speaker that we put in the back and going to check it every time we got a break or something like that. But other than that, like even this weekend, like my dad's a Cowboy fan. Like in our family, like we tease, we joke, we joning is what we call it where we from. So you guys may call it dozens or whatever, but joning is what we've always called it. But that's just how we are. That's how we relate as a family. I told you guys, my dad is, he's my biggest hater, but it's affectionate. It's coming from a place of love, and that's why I always tell people, there's not a joke you can say about me that I haven't already heard. And the people that love me going to tell me about myself. It's nothing that you can say that's going to make me feel a certain type of way. That's just the way I am. That don't mean I won't punch you in your face, because I will do that. But I'm just saying, at the end of the day, there's nothing you can say about me that I haven't already heard, because my family going to say it before you get to say it. You know what I'm saying? So that's the beautiful thing. So we've got a lot to talk about. We have an awful lot to talk about. So let's get into this news. Texas defeats Sam Houston 55-0. And I think the beautiful thing about this is, Arch Manning had a, fantastic game. He lit up the night, 309 yards, 3 touchdowns, and for some reason, the story or the thing that everybody was talking about after the game, people was upset at Texas account for stunting on Sam Houston the way that they stunted on Sam Houston. People were upset with Arch Manning for stunting on Sam Houston the way he stunted on Sam Houston. Yo, you guys got to pick a side. I am so tired in this world that we live in that goalposts are constantly being moved. If he plays bad, you talk about how horribly he plays. We all were talking about, does he have some undiscovered, injury because of the grimacing? And even, Steve Sarkisian didn't handle the question correctly, that the reporter asked him. We have to stop moving the goalposts. It doesn't matter who you play, because the narrative, if he had a bad game, Arch is having a bad game and they're playing Sam Houston. But the fact that he had a good game, he's stunting on him, he's showing some swagger, it's an issue. I don't understand that. As a community, we have to stop moving the goalposts. As a country, we have to stop moving the goalposts. Like, I don't get that. I don't understand that way of thinking. Anyway, like, if me and you are going to have a talk or a discussion about college football, let's say it's first take style. And it's the duality. And you guys know I hate the duality in sports. Like, hey, we're not going to agree on every subject. You guys watch Overreaction every Monday. Me, D Now, and Nino don't always think alike. That's what I love mostly about that show. And even if I have a different ideology or a different way of thinking than the way that they have, you guys probably aren't hearing a word right now, are you? Let me see something real quick. No, you guys are hearing everything. That's perfect. I didn't have my audio settings up, so I had to check it. Sorry about that. But, even though they have a different ideology or different way of thinking, the way that they communicate and the way that they're able to explain themselves, because they are, just as much as into this as I am, I can always respect it. And that's the thing that I love about it. Because we can see, the same play and have 17 different thinking or 17 different reactions to a play. That's the beauty of college sports. But stop moving the goalposts. I do not like having discussion with people that are constantly moving the goalposts. Like, if we having a conversation about, I'm a Bills fan, we having a conversation about Josh Allen, and then in order for you to win the conversation, you automatically go to Bills have never won a Super Bowl. You're moving the goalposts, bro. We just talk about how great of a player Josh Allen is, and ultimately you are judged, by your Super Bowl victories. But I don't know, like, he's a great player. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's stop moving the goalposts. So yes, Texas beat Sam Houston. Yes, they stunted on them, but don't everybody do it? Even at the NFL level, you saw the Steelers stunting on New England. They ain't feel sorry for New England, did they? That is just the way it works. That's what happens in this world of college football. So don't get upset when the kid has a good game. Oh, it's against Sam Houston, and he wants to act like he just beat LSU, bro. That don't switch the narrative. Don't change it at all. Because y'all was on this head top for the past several weeks. The game against Ohio State, y'all was on this head top. The fact that he had horrible games against poor level competition, y'all was on his head top. The guy has a good game. He's stunting. He got his swagger back. Oh, y'all still have a problem. Now y'all moving that goalpost because it was against Sam Houston, bro. Y'all have to stop doing that. Please stop doing that. Stop it. He had a good game. Congratulate him for having a good game because it was against Sam Houston. That's your ideology. That's your way of thinking. That way of thinking this week. Do not move the goalpost. That's something you will never see me do here on this show. I will not move the goalpost. I will always hold myself accountable. You guys seen on the first rendition of Hold This L after week 1, guess who I gave an L to? I gave an L to myself. That's the way the thing work here, and we're going to always keep it that way. Texas Tech goes into Salt Lake City and beat Utah 34-10. I know the Indiana game, you know what I'm saying, and I'm high on Illinois. I'm not sure how high I'm still on Illinois, but I'm the type of person I'm going to stick to my guns. So I still believe in Illinois, even after the BTA that happened over the weekend. But I think I was more impressed with this Texas Tech victory. First of all, Barrett Morton got injured that game. And the fact that they was able, I don't think people realize, even though they don't have the biggest stadium in the sport, how great their fans and how they show out. And they made Devon Dampier look pedestrian. And I hadn't seen that. Like, I didn't see it before he moved up to the P4 ranks. And I certainly didn't think I would see it. And though they played UCLA and then a bunch of like FCS / G5 competition, I still didn't expect this. I still expected Utah at home to handle business. But I believe, and I truly believe this, if you want to play with the big dogs, you better be willing to open up that pocketbook. And they truly gave the town of Lubbock and, the surrounding areas and everybody who's, Texas A&M fans, 55 million reasons to celebrate. Will Hammond, like I said, he stepped in 169 yards after Baron Morton's injury. And the Red Raiders defense, they were stifling. This team, the Big 12 is a conference that defense is rarely celebrated. You look at the quality of quarterbacks in that conference. You look at their ability to put up yards. We even had a really good game. And y'all know it hurt my soul to see, that team in Waco lose this past weekend to Arizona State. And, even Kenny Dillingham after the game was like, we forced 5 turnovers and still only won by 3. That tells you how good of a team Baylor is. But that conference is just amazing. And it'll be interesting to see who wins this thing. But I believe there's truly going to be some cannibalization by this conference because Texas Tech is for real. And if I have to look at this thing, and tomorrow I'm going to do first quarter grades, like a report card. We're going to give out some first quarter grades tomorrow. Something I wanted to do for the day, but I thought for today it was more important to talk about the AP poll because they did release their poll. So, yes, tomorrow we will be doing first quarter grades. My apologies about not going live on Thursday and Friday as well. It's just been a hectic week. A lot of traveling this week, but it's all good. Like I said, I'm going to give you guys that in the next segment. But Texas Tech, you guys look really good, and you guys have an opportunity to go out there and win a Big 12. How you play the rest of the season, you all will be judged, but you just start to look at that conference. It is going to be a lot of cannibalization. And, these losses that you get, like early in the season, like Utah losing to Texas Tech, it will matter at the end of the year. Arizona State being able to defeat Baylor. Yes, they do have a loss on the season to Mississippi State. That's a non-conference loss. At the end of the day, when we start to look at these things, I know everybody wants to look at the overall record win-loss. If you're able to win games in your conference, you put yourself in a damn good position to be in that conference championship, and that's what it's about at the end of the day. So hey, we like to celebrate winners on the show, So Indiana, BTA. Y'all know what I want to say, but I've been working on my language. I've been working on my attitude, man, getting closer, with God. So I've been trying not to curse as much, man. It's been a struggle because sometimes, I don't know if you guys play 2K. I play 2K. And I do really good. I'm probably not cursing probably about 93% of the time. And I worked in a field where everybody curse. We curse like sailors. It is what it is. Customer could be right there with cursor right in front of the customer. I've been trying to work on it. Now that I'm doing this full time, much happier place. And it's still a struggle. 2K, I don't know if you guys play NBA 2K. Them 7'4" centers are annoying. They really are. And if you played ball growing up or you played it in real life, that logic don't work on a video game, and it's crazy. But BTA, what Indiana did to Illinois, and and I said it with the S, and you guys will hear why I said it with an S later on. But 5 touchdown game from Fernando Mendoza. He's definitely moving up, and it's something we're gonna talk about on Overreaction Monday tonight. I think D-Now had a great point that he's definitely moving up. When you start to look at the prospects of the 2026 NFL draft, things are getting really interesting. They really are. I mean, you look at what Carson Beck is doing right now down there in the 305. It's getting interesting out there as well. TCU wins the final Iron Skillet for the foreseeable future. Josh Hoover tossed 5 touchdowns. TCU beat SMU 35-24. And I don't like being right in certain cases. And if you guys been paying attention, I kind of predicted that SMU will have this sophomore slump this year. And the ACC one was because of their non-con schedule, playing 2 Big 12 schools. And just because, the ACC will kind of catch up on what they're doing with the RPO and that style of offense that Rhett Lashley and company like to run. But do TCU look good or do they look good? They look really good. So that's what I say, when we were at Big 12 Media Days, and that's why it's important if you're a media and you have the ability to make it to these events, go to these events because the way you feel about a team coming into that event may be completely different. But when you go there and I'm talking with Moon, I'm talking with Mike, I'm like, what teams stick out to y'all? And Moon continued to say something about Utah, something about TCU. We all kept saying it. We all got this feeling. There was something about TCU. And we had the opportunity to talk to all of their players, and they kind of were all mini, Sonny Dykes in their discussion, and they were very goal-oriented. And when Bud Clark talked to me about his relationship with Josh Hoover and how they always share intel with each other, I thought that was magnificent. And maybe that's something that all schools do. But, actually being out there in the field, and to hear him, say that, I think it's incredible. And the way that TCU's playing right now, they can certainly win a Big 12. Texas Tech look daggone good. If I had to edge anybody right now, it would probably be them. But TCU, I think with the balanced attack that they have offensively, and they do have the ability to get stops, not at the rate that Texas Tech has been able to get stops, but this conference is really going to come down to the wire. We all had favorites heading into the season. Baylor was my favorite, and I don't think it was close. Some people had Arizona State favorite. Kansas is looking really good. I mean, even in the loss in the border war to Missouri, they look fantastic. And our motto over here is no moral victories, and I'm about to get shirts printed up very soon. But they still look fantastic, and that's the thing that's incredible to me. So it's sad that we might not be getting a little, an Iron Skillet game for a little while. Sometimes the politics of this sport, the business of this sport, really get in the way of things that we treasure so much. I know the SEC is going live tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. I got an email Friday, and I think we're going to do a special live episode or Reaction Monday tomorrow. If not, then you guys know I'll be going live. That's the point of me being able to do this full time, to kind of discuss that. I think On3 has released what the schedules are already, but I still want to go live at that time because I'm hoping that we get that Power 4 opponent. Maybe we get some of those over the next 4 years, because if Oklahoma is the first thing I'm looking at, if we don't get Bedlam, I'm going to be upset. I'm going to be extremely upset. But back to the story at hand. TCU wins the Iron Skillet. Josh Hoover is incredible. That defense, I think, because it's really difficult to stop SMU's offense. So to hold them to 24 points, I think is pretty spectacular. Oklahoma escapes Auburn. That was a game that I didn't know how it would go. I think the things that Oklahoma did that was really good, they kind of prepared themselves for this moment, being able to play Michigan so early in the season. They got to get a really good look. And how about Michigan? Your opinion about Michigan before the season. Granted, I did hear a lot of people say, hey, Michigan could be a playoff team just looking at the caliber of talent on that roster. Me personally, I didn't see that. I didn't see it at all. And that's what I love about me doing this show, is because I'm going to be wrong more than I'm right. I know many people think, if you're in this field, on this realm, you're not supposed to admit stuff like that, but we're going to always keep it, gangster on this show. That's just the way I grew up. We're going to always keep it gully. And, heading into the season, there was, two teams I was completely wrong about. One of them was Michigan, because I wasn't sure how they will handle, Sharon Moore being gone. And it's kind of been a blessing in disguise. I hate to say it that way. We knew they had talent, but I wanted to see, would they be able to move the ball in the air at least a little bit? And Justice Haynes had a big game, that past game. But to go into that raucous environment, and, to be able to go into Lincoln and leave with a win while your coach is on suspension, that's spectacular. And I think, they're truly headed in the right direction, heading into Big Ten play. And I think Big Ten is one of those conferences that, coming into the season, it was all Oregon, Pitt State, or Ohio State, was probably your favorite to win the conference. But you look at what Indiana just did to a team that I really respect in Illinois. I know a lot of people aren't the biggest fans of Illinois. A lot of people say they could foresee them losing a game like this. The way that college football works, you can say that in one moment. Week 6, they play Ohio State, or week 7, they might play Ohio State. They can win that game. And then you might feel a whole nother way. You know what I'm saying? But, I'm the type of person, I make my picks, I'm going to stick with my guns. Probably except for Clemson, because they done. We'll talk a little bit more about Clemson later. But, yeah, Oklahoma defeats Auburn. It was a weird game, because I felt the way about Auburn heading into the season. I'm not sure if they were figured out, but they've looked good so far this season. I got to give them their credit. And Oklahoma, I was really high on Oklahoma heading into the season. I told you guys, I have been to work with people who are diehard college football fans like me. Everybody on CFB Nation are diehard college football fans. And if one school, my dog Dante, Clemson is cooked. Shout out to my dog, East Coast Gridiron, man. He be working, man. He working on Sundays too, man. he covering NFL, covering fantasy, covering college football. He doing it all, man. Make sure y'all check out my dog, East Coast Gridiron, man. Follow them on. I really want to say him, but follow them on YouTube and on Twitter, man. A lot of great content. They cover both NFL and college football. And if it's anybody, I'm going to send some love to. And, NFL, we don't do the NFL here at CFB Nation. Go check out East Coast Gridiron, because them dudes is working. But, yeah, Clemson is cooked. And Clemson will be on another edition of Hold This L. But, yeah, so Oklahoma defeated Auburn. Like I said, I felt a really strong way about Oklahoma heading into the season. I love what they were able to do in getting, John Mateer from Washington and Ben Arbuckle as offense coordinator. I knew that would bode well, because the Seth Luttrell experience last year was horrible. I felt truly sorry for Hawkins and Jackson Arnold last year trying to operate that offense. But, that's neither here nor there. Auburn had chances to win that game, and, they got to be respected. Seeing Jackson Arnold walk off of that field, and, fans are, like, taunting him. And this is college football. I know he expected it. I know if they lose, they do need to let Gideon Davis and cook. They do. I don't know why he's not getting touches. And best 3 teams in college football have a rotation of 3 backs if they don't have an elite quarterback. Very true. Very true. I like that. It's a great take. But seeing Jackson Arnold walk off of the field, I love seeing he had his hell high. He had hell high. He's looking into the crowd. Soaking it all in because he did used to play there, and seeing what the crowd saying, the things they said about him, and he had this great comeback. You wish you were me, right? And people might take that and laugh at, you just lost. What do you mean you wish you were me? We all do. If you're being honest, don't you wish you were, instead of watching the game, you were playing in the game? Don't we all think that sometimes? Like, man, what is it like to be one of these athletes at one of these big schools? Now, it's rough when you lose. We all know that. It's extremely rough when you lose. But when you're winning, that's got to be an amazing feeling. But to see him walk off that field with his head high, I love to see that. And hopefully Auburn, got the ability to, win a lot of games this year. I think they're a talented team. It's yet to be seen. Because I think the SEC, we always talked about how the SEC was kind of top-heavy over the past years. I believe there's more parity now than ever in the SEC. Because, like, right now, who's your favorite to win the SEC? Ask anybody that. Who's your favorite to win the SEC? I'm asking everybody. If you're in the chat, answer, who is your favorite to win the SEC? You'll get a lot of different answers. Some people may say Texas still. You never know. Some people may say Bama. Some people may say Georgia. Some people may say Tennessee. Some people... Who's another really good team in the SEC? Oklahoma. Oklahoma may be your pick to win the SEC. Who is your pick to win the SEC? Mississippi State. We got to see how they play in conference play, but they look really good this season, and they were predicted to finish last in the conference. I didn't see that coming because of my belief in Jeff Lebby, and I saw what Oklahoma offense looked like before he left, and I see what it looked like after he left, and I know that he was a difference maker. I also seen that Blake Shapen started his season very great last year before the injury. So it'll be interesting. Who do you have winning the SEC is the question that I propose to everybody. Who do you have winning the SEC? Because you get a lot of different answers. My answer at this moment, I think Texas A&M is the best team that I've seen in the SEC. We got to see them play more, tough games, but they've been in tough environments. To see them go to South Bend and leave with a win, yeah. Right now, my favorite to win the SEC is Texas A&M. That will change week to week. It is what it is. Coming into the season, it was Texas. Like I said, week to week, it will change. Just, based on, how we feel. And Michigan defeating Nebraska, what a great moment for sports media with Will Compton and Tyler Lewin being there. Also, Pate was there. I think he said that was his first time in Lincoln for a game. The fact that they both made a bet, placed a $50,000 bet, that had to be an exciting atmosphere to be in. That was one of the games I wish I could have saw. I think I was more excited to see Jackson Arnold return to Norman more than anything. But, being on the road, you just enjoy the environments you're in. And like I said, we're going to talk about that a little bit later, but we were in a lot of amazing environments this weekend. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and head on to Governor's Travel, and we're going to talk about my weekend. And I'm going to give you guys kind of like a play-by-play on what my weekend was like. Alrighty, so Governor Travels, what CFB Moon, my dog, my partner in crime, calls the triple dip. One Saturday, 3 games, and why CFB Nation is on top. CFB Nation has given me a myriad of opportunities that I probably would have never got. Things that you dream of when you enter this media realm. When I started this thing, it started as a show. I don't know if a lot of people remember that, but when the first time you seen CFB Nation, it was probably just me, and it was like, still really high quality themed as far as like with the graphics and the set design look. It looked a little bit different. We, used to have a rundown. And on that show, it was just my idea of what a college football show should be. And that's why I started it, right? And it was at a time, like I said, me and Moon were running another company called Real One Production. Shout out to everybody who was a part of that company. Truly appreciate you. And I learned a lot from it because most people have businesses that failed. That's just the fact of the matter. I did music long before I did this, and It failed. I know why it failed now. It failed not because we weren't talented. We actually had our music playing in local clubs and strip clubs. We just didn't market it. We didn't promote it correctly, to be honest with you. And so, understanding that, then it helps you understand when you formulate a business later on. So, yeah, we formulated CFB Nation was just a show. I was doing episodes a couple times a week. I'm trying to make a name for myself. And it was kind of like me foreseeing that Real Ones Productions was coming to an end. And I think by episode 2, it had ended already. So I was like, okay. And I told them from the jump, like, CFB Nation, not a part of what R1P is doing. This is my thing. And what it is, like, blossomed into is beautiful, man. I remember I kept seeing Nino on Twitter. I'm like, who's this guy? He's lit. But, him and Moon had already, they were already following each other on Twitter. And then he was like, yo, I'm going to reach out to him. I was like, yeah, I need to do it on the show. So I got him on the show, and then I invited him to start coming back to the show. It was like once a week, Nino was on the show. I'm like, this dude's energy is phenomenal, and it's infectious. So boom, then Nino got added to the crew. And then we kind of, for a moment, had a merger, T2T and CFB Nation. And then, we ended up going our separate ways. But it is some truly phenomenal people that work with this company, man. Well, the dude, Mike, man, what our director Mike can do with a camera is phenomenal. Like, there's times I've had, and mind you, I had media production. That was my concentration in college. There's still things about cameras I just don't get. And I was like, yo, this don't. Like, what's wrong with this joint? He looked at it, 2 seconds, he was able to fix it. Like, he's phenomenal in that aspect. Moon and D now, dude, they can turn several no's into a yes. They have that innate ability. They will talk to schools. Schools will beat down on them, tell us no. They will turn that to a yes. They will 100% turn it to a yes. At some point, they are going to turn it into a yes. And their approach has been good. Like, we've been credentialed. We're cool with like over 150, maybe 200 plus schools now. And, we're in a blessed position to be able to do that. And in fact, we don't have any backing, bro. Like, we got all this out the mud. We ain't had no head start. It wasn't no easy button that we hit. You know what I'm saying? We just put the work in, CFB Nation. This was our... This out at Radio Row for ACC Media Days. I saw this junk, and I was like, yeah, this is mine. I'm taking this junk. So I keep it with me, and it's a constant reminder of how far we come. And you can even see the ACC kickoff, if you guys can see the logo on it. Sorry, I was blocking my mic. But, like, we've come a very long way, and that's without backing. We're doing this with blood, sweat, and tears, yo. And we're making it happen. Like, we get credentials. Hey, we're going to travel, and we got to go get those credentials. So I felt like it was important to kind of give you guys a backstory of how it started. D Now and Boomer were part of T2T. Like I said, I developed a relationship with Nino. I seen he was lit. I was like, yo, me and him did a show, it would be lit. And it was lit. And that was the flagship show, CFB Nation. And then we came up with the idea, well, let's go ahead and focus on one central show, not call it the flagship show, because the name of the company, we're bigger than the show. The name of the company is CFB Nation. We did that. Boomer, D Now joined, Moon, Mike. Like I said, our roster is strong, dude. It's really strong. Everybody play their position. What Nino does on our Twitter, on our YouTube, phenomenal. Everybody just play their role, bro. That's what I love most about us. Everybody play their role. Everybody got their strengths. Everybody got things that they are able to do, whether it's family, work, whatever. I'm going to hold this down with the shows. I got us. I promise you, I got us. I'm going to continue to go live and continue to be live. So, boom, I got y'all that backstory. So, like I said, never take things for granted. Just know that it starts with a dream, bro. You put action behind that dream, you can go anywhere, for real. So I'm going to give you guys a play-by-play of this governor travel and what my dog Moon called a triple dip. So this past weekend was more than just a grind. It was a reminder of the greatness of CFB Nation and the stamp of approval that we're building. Like I said, this is no backing. We're doing this independently, bro. Nobody else in America did what we did. Now, I know there's going to be people say, well, ESPN has, they broadcast 10, 11 games a week. It's a little bit less than that, probably 8 or 9. I get that, but it's not the same people at these different games. That's what I mean by that. I think the only people that can kind of relate to what we did this weekend, Josh Pate, I've seen him do a double dip before. Also, my guy, Curt Street, he's a fly jock as well. You'll see him do game day and then fly to whatever game he's announcing. Sometimes he ends up announcing at the game that they're at, and you guys see he will never pick the winner of that game because he doesn't want to have any broadcaster bias. But yeah, so what our communication strategist affectionately called, that's my dog CFB Moon, the triple dip. 3 games, 1 day, the only college football entity pulling that off, and I really do mean that. So buckle up. I'm going to take you guys on a journey, start to finish, what that look like. So 3:30 Saturday morning, my alarm goes off, shower, quick reset. It's game day, but not just any game day. This is a full-on marathon. 4:15 a.m. We stopped at Wawa. Got me a veggie hoagie, some chips, and Wawa apple juice. I don't know what Wawa put in their apple juice, but it's fire. I shouldn't even be mentioning them because they ain't even paid me to mention them. But I'm going to mention them anyway, show some love for a little bit. But, because I already knew it was about to be a crazy day, let me go ahead and get some food in. Around 5:30 a.m., pulled up at Dulles International Airport. And then I think we boarded a little bit before 7, maybe around like 6:30 or so. 7, we was bound for Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson Airport. We landed around 8:45 a.m. I'm straight to Enterprise because I already picked out a rental. No, I need a rental car because, we got 3 places to go. And Moon meets me at the airport, meets me right at the Enterprise Zone the minute that I'm getting a car. Matter of fact, 2025 Toyota Camry. I've never been a huge Camry guy. I know one of my exes had one back in the day. That joint was all right. It was cool. But this joint was like that. It was, part electric, part gas. You don't even hear it when the dang on car turns on. Beautiful. Like I said, it even got like the little collision thing. It'll slow you down if you're driving too fast and all that. But like I said, 8:45 a.m. we rolling. Boom, 9:30. The rental car secured. We're on the highway heading to game 1. And that's Syracuse versus Clemson in Death Valley. And on that drive, me and Moon just, we listening to College Game Day, talking about college football. I would say we're both college football nerds. And then I think a lot of times we'll test our ideologies and our takes with each other. Like I'll have an opinion about something. He'll be like, that's interesting. You could probably flip it like this or roll it like that, and vice versa. I think that's just what we do. Like we're truly college football nerds, like 100%. So on the road, headed to Death Valley, we thinking, dang, we might get there a little late because, I wanted to get there earlier, but, the earliest flight I could secure was that 7 a.m. flight. So boom, the GPS telling us we going to get there at like 11:50. Like we want to get there comfortably, you know what I'm saying? But 11:50 ain't cool because you got to rush, park in the media parking, jump on the shuttle, and then head to the stadium. We got there by the grace of God at 11:25 a.m. I ain't going to say we were speeding, but we were speeding. Mama, close your ears. I know you listening. It's all good. We okay. But we got there like around 11:25, 11:30. Pulled into Clemson, credentials and photo vest in hand, straight to the field, man. And the craziest part about this game is Clemson fans, the way that they show out differently, dude. They out there, they tailgating. Clemson fans, if they know you media, they gonna test your knowledge. That's just the way that they fans operate. Not my first time there. But, my first time there in a game that had this type of magnitude, in my opinion, this was a must-win game for Clemson. An absolute must-win game. And the fact that they fans showed up, the players did not. And you can just look at the energy on the sideline. And sometime before pregame, you can just tell. And when I tell you the spirit of that game broke after, Steve Angeli, and, heartbreaking news that he's out for the season. That broke my heart. And it's one of those weird things. You're like, this dude is probably going to lead, college football in passing yards. Syracuse does it twice in a year because they did it, last year as well. And the fact that he's injured, he out for the season. Ricky Collins will get an opportunity to prove to everyone how good he is. But I feel like Fran Brown came in there with a goal in mind. Because I think some people kind of wrote Syracuse off after the Tennessee loss because, a lot of us was unsure of how good both of these teams were coming into the year. But for Steve Angeli to drive them down, they scored a touchdown, kicked the onside, recovered the onside. You just had a feeling the game was over, yo. You just had a feeling like it was to see the sideline. You could just see the life. It's like the Bone Thugs and Harmony video. You could just see the souls leave out of the fans. You see the souls leave out of the players, out of the coaches. I think one of the best stills that I seen this weekend was a picture of Antonio Williams kind of consoling Dabo Swinney on the sideline. And I think he had a great quote in that. And even though, Clemson will be on Hold This L a little bit later, when he said he's a human, he's not a cyborg, that joint hit home, dog. Because I think a lot of times we don't realize what coaches go through. I think SEC football, any given Saturday that was on Netflix, gave us a great insight to what they really go through. But, around 1:30, I think it was, I text Moon. I said it's probably time that we head to our game number 2. I had a feeling that, the game was in hand. But, either way, even if it was a close game, if we were going to get to Bobby Dodd, before kickoff, we were going to have to leave. But it took us a little minute to get back to the rental. 1:45 p.m., we was back to the rental. wheels turning, and we head towards Atlanta, Georgia for game number 2, Temple versus Georgia Tech at Bobby Dodd. Traffic, bro. Traffic really tried to tie us up. But when I tell you the college football gods were looking out for us, they was looking out for us. The moment we left the Clemson game, it was like halftime was approaching. Then it was a delay. So boom, we left at the perfect time. On our way to Georgia Tech, we hear that it is a delay at Georgia Tech because of lightning. So we were able to head there. Not speeding as much as we were when we went to Clemson. We were still speeding a little bit. That's just the way it goes. You know how it is. We love college football. So traffic tied the ties up. But like I said, lightning delay caused the game to be pushed back to a 5 p.m. kickoff. 4:15 p.m. we get to Tech right before kickoff. Beautiful campus, by the way. Beautiful campus. I love when stadiums are on campus. Beautiful campus. Bobby Dodd is incredible. And then Moon was like, yo, we got to go to my favorite spot. And then Moon also put a video on Twitter. I retweeted it as well if you haven't seen it. He's like, yo, he said, clear out. I forgot what he said. He said, we got a celebrity coming through. It's the governor. And he put the video up of me walking. I'm holding up an L. You know what I'm saying? It was legendary, dog. But, like, he took me to, where he liked to stand at, where he's at this game. And that student section at Georgia Tech is phenomenal. Yo, they did, like, the coolest student section. There's still some stadiums I haven't been to. So, just keep that in mind when I talk about how great their student section is. It is phenomenal. Like, the stadium is nice. I love the way that it's set up. I love how where you go collect your credentials is literally right next to, where you get your photo vest. It was easy. Other than that, it's a walk, though. From the media parking lot to how you get to the stadium, it's a walk. Thank goodness we seen somebody with one of the little golf carts, and Shawty took us right to the stadium. That was dope. But that student section was phenomenal. Just seeing them, the drip that Georgia Tech had on that day was crazy too. And like I said, the atmosphere was electric. It was incredible. The student section, they are chanting. They're giving the refs the business. They're giving players the business. Like, it was hilarious just being in front of that student section. And I can see why when Moon does go to Bobby Dodd, that's where he's at every time, because you're going to get a good laughter. Like, even the security guards who were supposed to take their job extremely serious, like the event staff, and they're kind of standing in their pose, he was laughing and interacting with the students because they are hilarious, yo. So, yes. So that was our second top. Temple versus Tech. Great game. We got to see a few touchdowns, but then we knew around 6 o'clock, we needed to get ready to get out of there and head on to game 3, which was Kennesaw, Georgia for game 3 for Arkansas State versus Kennesaw State. And it's crazy, and I don't know if it's the G5 governor in me, maybe G6 governor soon, starting next year, coming to a city near you. But my favorite stop of the day was Kennesaw State. I don't know what it was about that place. Like, even like there was a holdup in getting our credentials, and the SID there, because the girls at the door, they did an outstanding job. That's why I can never get upset at people doing their job. It's like, well, we don't have your credentials, so you're going to have to call whoever you got in contact with in order to get into this here stadium. And me and Moon looked at each other and then looked at them. We said, okay. Obliged. Bro came right down there. He apologized, introduced us to the people who was at the door. They was cool. They apologized as well. And then he took us to this cool spot that they had. And they had like an open press box, what I thought that was really dope. And Clemson has one as well. They got an indoor press box and like an outdoor press box. So we went there. He said, yo, you can use anything you need here. We got outlets there. Very hospitable. That's one thing I noticed about people in the South. I'm from Washington, D.C. People ain't real hospitable up here. They not. Like, you look at somebody too long, they going to tell you what the F you looking at. I ain't lying. Anybody listen to the show, if they from there, they know I ain't lying. You can get a fight for a myriad of reasons up there. I'm telling you. Some of the stupid fights I've gotten into, somebody stepping on your shoe. Somebody step on your shoe, you got to fight them, bro. It is what it is. I promise you I ain't telling no lies. But, down there, people are real hospitable. They're real cool. The SID there was amazing. Like I said, he showed us to the open press box. That was dope. Me and Moon, beeline. Don't even need vests while you're there. Me and Moon, beeline. We was on the field. We got there a little bit before halftime. And like I said, that environment was amazing. I remember even being at the airport earlier that day, and I heard them talking about they was catching the same flight I was. And they was talking about Kennesaw State. I'm like, y'all going to the game today? One couple said they were. The other couple said they weren't. They was like, are you a scout or something? I was like, no. I was like, I introduced myself, Told him, I'm the, CEO and founder of CFB Nation, and what I was doing. I was going to 3 games that day. One of the games I was going to was, Kennesaw State, and actually go there and be on the field. And I'm sure they see me. It's like, yo, that's the guy we was talking to at the airport. That's pretty cool. And probably my favorite moment there, the PA announcer or the DJ, whoever you are at Kennesaw State, you are amazing, bro. The life that he brings to the fans, the interaction, bro, witty, super sharp. Like, I want to go back to Kennesaw State. I told him, dude, I got to come to another Kennesaw State game. So the environments that I was in, being in Clemson for the Syracuse-Clemson game, that environment was crazy. It was electric. Same thing being at Bobby Dodd. But being at Kennesaw State, was something comforting about it. It was amazing. Like, being on the field was dope. We got there, like I said, right before halftime. We interacting with the band. They was mad cool. Seeing the DJ do his thing. Man, Moon was like, yo, we been, moving all day. Barely ate. Let's go get some food. They had some Jimmy John's. They kept the vegans in mind. Had some vegetarian options, which was dope. So we got to sit in the open press box. Ate some food. We got to see the beginning of the third quarter from the open press box. We was talking to the dude that was he was doing a video for the game. And you know how most times you go to a game, if you guys ever been on the field, you'll see ESPN have that like mobile, almost like a golf cart kind of is the way I explain it. It's really tall, and that's how they shoot. That's how ESPN get their shots. And they will run you over on the sideline. They be telling you, move, move, move. So they have like a 10-person team just for that camera operator. Well, at Kennesaw State, that camera dude had the perfect shot. He was in the open press box, and he was like asking us what we do, and he thought it was impressive that we traveled, and that was our third game of the day. He's in the open press box and just has the best shot of the game. The camera was amazing. So me and Moon chopping it up with him, eating some Jimmy John's and just enjoying the game for the press box. And then around, I forgot what time it was. Let me see. I got it in my notes. I think around 8:20 p.m., we was like, we need to get out of here. Got to get you back to the airport. It wasn't a far drive from Kennesaw State to Hartsfield-Jackson Airport. Maybe about, Atlanta traffic is bad. Like, it's bad where I'm at here in Fredericksburg as well, in Virginia. Like, we have stupid traffic here. We're not a big city, but we kind of operate like one, even though we're not a big city. Atlanta is a huge city, bro, and that traffic is just stupid down there. So something that's probably about a 20-minute drive, maybe 15-minute drive, took roughly 40 minutes, about 45 minutes. So around 9:05, and then these airports, like my flight was at 10:09 p.m., but at the airports, they don't really operate like that. Their doors will close like 20 minutes before, the flight takes off. That's just, the way it is. So I had to hurry up, get a rental back, dot my dog Moon up, what I'm saying, send him off. I had to beeline, run through the airport a little bit like O.J. Simpson. You know what I'm saying? I forgot the name of the commercials he used to do. It might have been a little rental car journey he used to do back in the 70s. But yeah, I was running through the airport like O.J. Simpson. Thankfully, made the flight 12 a.m., landed at Dulles. I think my flight, was 10:09. We landed around 11:55. Somebody was being stupid on the plane, man, like arguing with everybody on that jump. They was telling her to get off. And then she was like, well, I'll get off. And then somebody in there actually knew about the SEC rules or whatever. And then he was like, if they open that joint, it's like a $10,000 fine, right? And so she just kept talking. And after a while, we all told her, like, shut up and sit down. I don't know. It's just the way it was. But we arrived back around 12 a.m. And then shout out to my cousin Chris. That's who picked me up from the airport. Also who dropped me off, but I drove up there. We had an amazing conversation on the way up there, too. So shout out to my dog. So he picked me up from the airport, drove home. I'm daggone there dozing off by the time I get home. And then around 1 a.m., I get home, get to finally put my stuff down. I always talk about my U couch, sat on my U couch for a second. I just got to think, well, it was just a great day, It was just a fantastic day. Like, if you're a college football fan, I hope everybody get to experience that. The fact of the matter is, everybody won't, but it was just incredible to go to 3 games in one day. Kind of how, I felt like we was in, Mission Impossible a little bit. Got to the first stop, thought we was going to be later than we were. Got to the second stop, thought we were going to be later than we were. And then got to the third stop. And then the environment at Kennesaw State, you thinking, it's a G5 game. Stadiums aren't as big. But I enjoyed myself most there. So that was my weekend, Governor Travels. And I will leave this segment off with saying this, damn, I love college football. I really do. This weekend was incredible. It'll be one of those things I remember for the rest of my life. To be able to go to 3 games in one day. And it won't be the last time we do it. And that one wasn't easy. I think Moon had done this before. He said this one he enjoyed, a lot more, simply because it was bigger games. And also it wasn't just in one area. We literally had to go from Atlanta, Georgia to Clemson, South Carolina, back to Atlanta, Georgia, than to Kennesaw, Georgia. That's just the way it works. So, phenomenal weekend. This is Governor Travels, and like I said, damn, I love college football. It was an amazing weekend, and I did vlog this all. At some point, Moon and I are going to put our vlogs together. I vlogged it all on Snapchat, and it was dope. I had a lot of messages this weekend, too. People hitting me up was like, and then one guy who saw, when we he saw the induction of R1P when I was just streaming college, NCAA 14, and that's when I met Moon, Jalen, Brad, Steez, all of them, and I was like, yo, we need to formulate a company. That's how it all started. And he was like, yo, y'all talked about doing this years ago, and y'all actually doing it. Like, it's incredible. Sometimes somebody else got to say something to you for it to really register. You know what I mean? So shout out to my dog, Moon. Great weekend. It's interesting to see what we're going to end up doing this weekend, but 3 games in one day is crazy. It is, but like I said, I truly enjoy it. Let's move on to our next segment, which is Hold This L. Alrighty, Hold This L, Week 4 edition. Illinois, come on down. You are first up for Hold This L. In the preseason, Illinois, I picked you guys to be in my college football playoff. I believed. I saw what I saw last year. I even saw that you guys lost some production at wide receiver, but I like what you guys had coming in. Even saw you guys lost some production at running back, which Josh McCray had in the Athens, but I still liked what a lot of I seen out of Illinois. I thought Luke Altmaier is one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the sport. His clutch factor was amazing last season. There was 3 games he won. Money on the table, money on the line. He was able to win some of those in raucous environments. And I thought to myself, hey, I really like this Illinois team. I like the makeup of Brett Bielema. I just knew that a Brett Bielema team, even if you beat them, you would never beat them 63-10, right? Wrong. Illinois, hold this L. And I'm going to continue to call it Illinois because you guys refused to make any noise this past weekend. So you're Illinois until you make some more noise. Then Curt Cignetti walked right into his presser after the game and said it plain and simple. We broke their will. I don't think there's more disrespectful things you can hear from a coach in this sport than we broke their will. Y'all don't want to play football no more? That's like that's the equivalent to somebody being at the rec center, y'all playing ball, you hooping with their ball, you beat them, they ready to go home and they want their ball back. Knowing daggone well, we got to play with a ball with the little tit in it. We ain't trying to play with that, man. Dude, if you don't sit down and wait your next, you don't got to leave the records we just smoked. You don't got to do that. That's the equivalent to that. He said we broke their will. Brett Bielema, hold this L. What was that? 63-10? They made y'all look like an FCS program. Indiana versus Circuit City University. Indiana versus Idaho State. That's what y'all look like, Illinois. Embarrassing. Indiana snatched y'all soul, dog. Embarrassing. So here's your punishment. I got a copy of Rudy right here. We're going to send that to y'all. And then maybe you guys have to watch that on repeat until you guys learn to have some heart. Because that is embarrassing to go on the road at Indiana and lose 63-10, dog. I couldn't believe the score. When I started to see it get out of hand, even when it was like 28-10, I said, what's going on here? Because I know a Brett Bielema team ain't going to just get beat like that. 63-10, dog, hands and feet. Now, do I need to reevaluate you guys, Illinois, and Champaign, Indiana, and Champaign, Illinois, or do I need to reevaluate Indiana? Is Indiana the team to beat, or one of the teams to beat in the Big Ten? Because I had Oregon high, I had Penn State high, I had Ohio State high, but with Illinois losing the way that they lost, I guess I got to move Indiana up. This is embarrassing, and I'm gonna continue to call you guys Illinois. That performance was terrible. Illinois, it's terrible. Clemson, come on down. Y'all next. Syracuse 34, Clemson 21. Y'all fan base showed up. That's the embarrassment part about Clemson. Y'all fan base showed up, right? Dabo went on his rant. It was his therapy session. I even gave him the benefit of the doubt after he went on his rant. I said, hey, this is therapeutic. He has contradicted himself. It's okay. You're getting transparency. I like to see that. I just know they're going to show up. When I'm there, when the governor is in town, I just know they're going to show up. I was wrong. Clemson, hold this L. Dabo Swinney, hold this L. K. Klubnik, hold this L. Garrett Riley, hold this L. The SID, hold this L. But Dog Chandler, hold this L. Everybody within the Clemson brass, hold this L. This loss was an embarrassment. Your fan base still showed up. They still believed in you. You were 1-2. A lot of us are saying, well, they 1-2. They could probably still win the ACC. Wrong. Clemson is cooked like my dog Dante said. They are 1-3. Who had Clemson being 1-3 on their bingo card heading into the season? I'll wait. I had them as the number 1 team in the country, and I feel foolish. They hurt my pride, bro. Clemson, Cade Klubnik. Man, go watch some Taj Boyd. Go watch some Trevor Lawrence. Not NFL version. College football version. Go watch some Deshaun Watson. Before the massage sessions. And remember what it was like to be competent, bro. Remember what it was like to be competent. Clemson, bro. Your return production through the roof. Dabo not using the transfer portal. I say, you know what, Dabo, I do it my way. I'm bigging up Clemson all season, bro. So, Governor, you hold this L too. Number 1 team in the country is you bugging. Governor, you hold this L. Clemson, you hold this L. Everybody at Clemson hold this L. That's just how I feel right now. Up next, Cal. Don't think I forgot about you, dog. We bigging Cal up. We bigging JKS up, Jerns, however you say his name. That's why we call him JKS. We bigging him up, right? They looking good. Y'all play San Diego State and score no points? Cal, hold this L. Y'all got to hold a few L's. Justin Wilcox, hold this L. JKS, hold this L. What is wrong with y'all? Losing to San Diego State 34-0. Do you guys watch college football or do you just skim through it? This game absolutely blew my mind. I couldn't believe it. They didn't score nothing. They brought Krispy Kreme to the game. Nothing. Goose egg. Nada, zilch, they ain't scored nothing. They didn't just lose, yo. They vanished. A Power 14 getting blanketed by a Mountain West squad. Yo, Cal. A lot of us were starting to sip the Kool-Aid, too. Hey, man, you look at the versus Cal schedule, man. Cal might be impressive. Cal, hold this L, dog. Hold this L. And next week, y'all just need to run laps on the Golden Gate Bridge, bro. Until you discover what offense look like. 0 points with that kid you guys have at quarterback? 0? Did you prepare? Did you watch any film? Or you said, hey, man, we Cal, we mighty, we 3-0, we going to handle business. Cal, Berkeley, hold this L, yeah? That is crazy. Crazy. Arkansas, your turn. You're up next. You guys know what this season means for your head coach, right? And I kept telling you guys all weekend who was on upset alert. I said Arkansas was on upset alert because Ryan Silverfield, he said it, not me. He told my dog Moon when Moon was doing the interview. Fantastic interview, by the way, Moon. He was like, yo, people know when they come to Memphis, they got a problem on their hands. That's just 100% what he said. He told us top 3 teams that protect their home in the last decade. Memphis, I think, was number 2 or 3 on that list. Ohio State, and there was one other team that was on there. Great stat, by the way. He said they're going to protect this house. So, Arkansas, you know what this season means for your coach. You guys know Sam Pittman is on a high seed, and y'all go to Memphis and y'all lose. I think it's about time we start putting some respect on the G5. The American. Oh, by the way, I'm going to hold this W. I held the L in the beginning. I'm going to hold a W right now. I told you guys at the beginning of the season that the American Conference was the elite conference at the G5 level. I got pushback on that. Nah, I don't think the top teams in the American are better than the top teams in the Mountain West. That wasn't even my argument, but that's not even an argument now. My argument was they were deeper. Because who's going to win the American? I'll wait. Is it Tulane? Is it Memphis? Is it Navy? Is it who going to win it? Because teams are looking good. Tulsa just beat Oklahoma State. Who's going to win the American? Right? But back to the story at hand. Arkansas, y'all hold this L, dog. Y'all went out there. Y'all had an opportunity to win the game. Did you win the game? Nope. Arkansas, hold this L. You guys about to start your core SEC schedule. It's only going to get rough from here. Sam Pittman, hold this L. Taylor Green, you my dog, hold this L. Arkansas Brass, y'all hold this L as well. Great game, though. Phenomenal game. Great atmosphere. I wish I could have seen it. And guess what? I got to hold this L for a second. Because guess who was credentialed to go to that game? I was. A moment of silence for the governor. I was credentialed for that game. I chose to go to the... I chose... Yeah, man. I chose to do the triple dip. And I was credentialed for this game. I know it's sad. I wanted to be in that atmosphere, but seeing through the games in one day was just too intriguing for me. Georgia State, you're up. And let's have a moment of silence for Georgia State. 70-21. Wasn't this a team y'all just beat? Y'all let them score basketball numbers on y'all? 70? And then y'all treatment of my dog, Moon. Moon does so much for the Georgia State program, bro. He really does. He goes out of his way to write all of these articles for him. He's always showing up. He's in a documentary for him. And then y'all treat him. I treat him terribly, man. So I don't feel sorry for y'all, Georgia State. Y'all can hold this L. Y'all can hold the L for the rest of this century for all I care. Y'all are definitely holding that L. Y'all program been getting 70 put up on y'all a lot. This program is suffering right now. Somebody go get Georgia State some milk. Yo, they are terrible. And I know they were playing, they're just a G5 school playing a mighty SEC school, and Vanderbilt looks good and all that. Man, Georgia State hold this L, man. Y'all punishment, get Moon a call and apologize. And then maybe we'll show y'all some love. Other than that, Georgia State hold this L. South Carolina, hold this L. I forgot who else. Hold this L. If you lost this weekend, hold this L. If you lost embarrassingly, hold this L. I'm the governor. This is my segment, hold this L. And next week, if your team don't perform the way that they will be, hold this L. 100%. All right, next segment, Around the Nation. All right, so for the Around the Nation, we got AP Top 25. You guys let me know how you feel in the comment section. I felt like these episodes go so quickly. I didn't know we were at the 55-minute mark already. My apologies. But yeah, so Ohio State coming in at number 1. I didn't get too much news on this. I did see somebody had like Oklahoma rated number 1. I ain't mad at that. So I don't think we get any drama this week. I also have what the college football playoff poll looks like as of now. And I'll go ahead and show that real fast. That's what it looks like. If it started today. Actually, this is the... Oh, yeah. They still have South Florida rated as the highest power. I'm kind of surprised by that. I would think it would be Memphis at this point. But I get it. But that's what it looks like right now. Ohio State will get a bye. Miami at 2, they will get a bye. Penn State at 3, they will get a bye. LSU at 4, they will get a bye. LSU scored some points this weekend. Congratulations to them. Georgia, South Florida, I don't think that changed from last week. We got Florida State versus Texas A&M. That would be a great 8-9 matchup. Texas Tech versus Oregon this week. And Texas versus Oklahoma. Whoa, that's crazy. Every rivalry in the playoff, that would be magnetic. But this one wouldn't be a neutral site. That one would be in Norman, Oklahoma. That would be incredible. But let's get the other image I had back up. And then we're going to go to it, 1 through 25. Ohio State at 1. Miami at 2. Shout out to Miami. Penn State number 3. LSU number 4. Georgia number 5. Oregon number 6. Oklahoma number 7. Florida State. Shout out to my dog, East Coast Gridiron. I know he in the chat right now. They at 8. And number 9, Texas A&M. I'm big on Texas A&M. Number 10, Texas. Number 11, Indiana. What have you done for me lately? College football is a what have you done for me lately? Yes. Yeah, buy Indiana stock. Texas Tech at number 12. Impressed with them. 13, Ole Miss. Do Ole Miss have a quarterback controversy or not? We're going to talk about that tonight. 7:45, early time. We got a new time for Overreaction Monday. It's 7:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are going to talk about this Ole Miss quarterback situation. You guys ever have... Never mind, I'm not going to even say that. Now, Ole Miss is number 13. Number 14 is Iowa State. Number 15, Tennessee. Number 16, Georgia Tech. Number 17, Alabama. Number 18, Vanderbilt. Number 19, Michigan. Hey, give it up for Michigan. 20, Missouri. 20 is a very scary team. 20 is a very scary team. I'm telling you, Missouri is impressive. I got to see them once they, of course, they played South Carolina this past weekend. Missouri is scary. That's all I'm going to say. They had a balanced attack as well. That's what makes them really scary. USC. Shout out to USC, dude. So many people wanted to write Lincoln Riley off. And me and Moon were trying to tell people, hey guys, be careful. Be careful there. Because once you understand the air raid and you understand, there's different forms of the air raid, and you look at Lincoln Riley's air raid, and it's incredible. But shout out to USC. They got a huge matchup versus Illinois. And that's going to tell me a lot about both of these teams. I can't wait for that game this week. 22, Notre Dame. Notre Dame still shouldn't be in the top 25. I'm sorry. I said it. I cried my 2 tears in the bucket. Let's take it to the stage. They shouldn't be in the top 25, dog. Illinois at 23. Illinois should be in the top 23. You lose 63-10. Take them all the way out. Don't care where you had them at. They won't be in my top 25. Take them out. Is it an overreaction? Maybe. But you lost 63-10. Take them out now. TCU should be higher. I'm buying a lot of TCU stock. BYU should be up there. How does Auburn deserve to get taken out of the top 25? And they played a great game in Norman. But Illinois, who lost 63-10, BTA, is still in the top 25. I don't understand that. I don't understand it at all. Louisville needs more respect. Maryland is scary, dude. I didn't think Maryland was this good. And I saw Maryland, their second game of the season versus Northern Illinois. I'm like, okay. I do like the kid, Malik Washington. I think he's spectacular. But I just didn't think this was good. It's good. And to think for Luke Fickell, I know he got that contract extension. That don't mean he can't get fired this year. Make no mistake about it. I think that contract extension was in the sense of, hey, we believe in you. Kind of. We want to show you we believe in you. Kind of. You know what I'm saying? That's what I felt like it was. But Billy Edwards, I'm not sure if he played in that game. And my apologies for not knowing he played in that game. Hopefully he did. But, that was an opportunity to get back at the team, that he played against and that he played for, rather. And, for Maryland to win that game, the way that they won that game, look out for Maryland. So it's good to see Maryland is there. I remember when Maryland left the ACC, I thought it was a terrible move. Financially, I thought it was an excellent move. Bigger football games, bigger pot, you charge more at the concessions and all of that stuff. The basketball team was phenomenal. We all remember when they won the national championship. North Texas, I'm glad to see North Texas getting some love. And UCF, they put hands and feet on UNC, and I know it's UNC, but Scott Frost, Scotty Too Hotty, he was another team at Big 12 Media Days. Their players were talking a lot like Scotty Too Hotty. They was telling them how much swag that he had. And I'm telling you, I love it, UNLV. Great win for them. I think they were at Miami of Ohio. I was also credentialed for that game. I was credentialed for quite a few games this week. And though I wanted to go to them all, the fact of the matter is, the most I was going to go to was with my dog Moon. We did the triple dip. And that was spectacular. So all in all, not bad. I just think there's a few teams that should be out. Notre Dame should be out. Illinois should be out. I think there's a few more deserving teams. I will put Mississippi State in. I think Auburn deserves to be in. Maryland deserves to be in. Y'all know I've been on the Louisville train for a while. And I know they love right now that they ain't getting no respect. And I know Jeff Brom is using that to, the best of his capabilities. But, all in all, not bad. I ain't mad at it too much. BYU, welcome to the top 25, and deservingly so. So, definitely been a fun episode, man. Outstanding episode. Shout out for everybody who's always in here, always showing love, helping pushing this thing forward. Like I say, I think I will, by the end of the week, have a sponsorship announcement. We're in this past preliminary talks, very heavy talk. So, once we get everything ironed out, the lower thirds and stuff will look a little bit different because, once you get a sponsorship, you got to show love to the people that's sponsoring you. But, at the end of the day, it is what it is. Fun episode, great episode. Happy to be back. We will get a full 5 episodes this week. I haven't decided where I'm going week 5. A lot of exciting matchups for week 5. I don't know. I'm feeling G5 this week. I really want to go see Memphis because I missed them last week. And I want to go to Paradise because we promised Florida Atlantic we will come down for a few games. So I'm telling Moon that's probably where I want to go. If I had my first pick, I want to go down to Paradise, go down to Boca Raton. Plus the access that we get there is incredible. So that'll probably be my first pick for the week. As I always like to say, there are no more victories in a sport that survive and advance. That's why college football has the greatest regular season. And until next time, we'll see you guys tonight because you guys are going to be there for Overreaction Monday, 7:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be a fun show. We got a lot of great topics that we're going to talk about. Super excited for it. And I'm back live tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then don't forget for the SEC announcement for the opponent schedule, which is kind of already out there. But I think it'll be dope to go live while they're live and kind of do some live look-ins as well. Also, shout out to my dog, East Coast Gridiron. I was watching you this weekend. In between, I think we were going to a game and Moon happened to be driving. And I was watching. I think you had done a watch party. I forgot for what game it was. You had like 700 people in there. Congratulations, brother. You definitely deserve it. You put the work. You definitely put the work in, man. And we gotta do more content together, man. But we're gonna talk about it. I am doing a governor guest week next week. Already got a couple people that said they are down to do the show. So we just gotta line everything up so it makes sense. But you all take care. Governor of college football. We're gonna recap ACC.
Hey, that's CJ on the track.